Wall Street closes lower on Monday after a 4-week gaining streak. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific trade mixed, while the GIFT Nifty is suggesting a flat start for the Indian market. Oil prices fall with Brent crude around $80 a barrel ahead of the OPEC meet later this week, which is largely expected to extend production cuts into 2024. Higher crude stockpiles in the US have also put downward pressure on prices. Sebi does not approve widely anticipated voluntary delisting regulations on the basis of insufficient data. The regulator will also create provisions for the creation of small and medium REITs with a minimum asset value of 50 crore rupees against 500 crore rupees currently. Officials from the Finance Ministry and the RBI will meet banks and payments aggregators to discuss theft and cyber fraud. The government also meets with Google to understand its financial risk mitigation framework. The truce between Israel and Hamas gets extended by another 2 days, even as captives continues to be exchanged between the two sides. Israel, however, maintains that its campaign in the Gaza Strip will continue after the truce is over. Good morning in the Mumbai News Center. I'm Sonal Bhutra. You're watching Power Breakfast. It's a Tuesday morning, a fresh start to the week. We were off on a holiday yesterday, but let's quickly take a look at what happened in the global markets while we were off for a holiday. First up, let's take a look at the Asian markets. So yesterday it was a down day. There's some rebound in the Asian markets right now, but largely mixed, you have to say. The Taiwanese index, that is in the green, 0.5% higher there. Kospi too is higher, but Hang Seng is the one which is seeing some more declines today as well. So 0.2% lower there. We have the Kospi which is doing well. There's also Nikkei which has come in under some bit of pressure. So this is a mixed picture that we're seeing for the Asian markets right now. Let's quickly take a look at the GIFT Nifty as well, because that one is indicating that the start for our own markets could be in the green, 42 points higher. It is compared with the Nifty 50 futures, of course. 19,826 is where the futures are, and GIFT Nifty is around 42 points higher from those levels. Let's talk about the US markets now. The Dow and S&P both finished Monday's session around 0.2% lower, while the Nasdaq Composite inched down nearly 0.1%. Monday's trading session comes near the end of November's strong trading month, which concludes with Thursday's close. The Dow and S&P are on pace to finish the month 6.9 and 8.5% higher respectively. The technology-heavy Nasdaq has climbed 10.8% in November. It's time to get to you the final update in our global market wrap this morning now. European markets ended Monday's trading session lower, with the French CAC down 27 points, the German DAX, which was down 63 points, and the British FTSE closing with losses of around 28 points. European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde said that inflation pressures in the Eurozone are easing as expected. However, wage growth is still strong. She added that the outlook remains uncertain, and so the ECB's fight to contain price growth is not done yet. Okay, all right, that's the global market action. But how will these overnight cues impact our own markets? We have our research team joining in to tell you what the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to all of you. Ekta, let me come across to you first up. What is the market setup looking like today?
Morning, Sonal. Well, on Friday, the markets did end flat. The Nifty ended below 19,800. We had the Nifty Bank as well as the mid-caps, which managed to do better. Well, we did have strong institutional action from the FII, so need to see any kind of one-offs, whereas the DIIs net bought around 134 odd crores. So net institutions were buyers in Friday's trading session. Now, overall, the markets have been consolidating for the past few sessions. There is an absence of major events towards the end of the year.
Okay, all right. Looks like there is some hiccup, but of course we'll connect back to Ekta very soon. Before we talk about the market setup in detail, let's talk about all the stocks and news. Hormaz is joining us now. Hey, Hormaz, good morning.
Morning, Sonal, and plenty of stocks actually since it was a long weekend, so we have almost 3.5 days of action to cover. So I'll start off with Maruti Suzuki, and it has announced that it will hike prices across all models starting January 2024, and it has cited higher commodity prices and inflation behind as the reasons for this price hike. Paytm will be the stock to watch out for in today's session after Berkshire Hathaway. It was disclosed on Friday evening that Berkshire Hathaway has exited after selling its remaining 2.6% stake. They sold that stake with a nearly 800 crore loss. They had invested around 2,200 crore rupees in September of 2018, and they sold that remaining stake of 2.6% for 1,369 crores. Fortis Healthcare, they have decided to divest their entire 62.7% stake in Fortis Malar to MGM Healthcare, and that deal will be done for a cash consideration of 128 crore rupees. And they said that there are some unresolved legacy issues that constrained further investment in that hospital. So News and Software is the other one. They have approved a bonus issue of 1:1, and January 12, 2024 will be the record date for that bonus issue. PB Fintech, they have decided to invest 350 crore rupees in their wholly owned subsidiary Policy Bazaar, and that they'll do in one or more tranches across FY24 and 25. CE Infosystems, we also know that as MapMyIndia, they have approved raising 500 crore rupees through a QIP issue. We'll also keep an eye out for Raymond, where Chairman and MD Gautam Singhania wrote to the board members and to the employees as well. And he said that we remain steadfast to create shareholder value and protect the interest of employees, customers, and other stakeholders as well. And lastly, Bandhan Bank will be the one to watch out for as well, where they have reappointed Chandrasekhar Ghosh as MD and CEO for a period of 3 years. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Hormaz, for all those details. In fact, we have Ekta back with us. Ekta, go ahead. What is the market setup looking like today?
Well, like I mentioned, the markets have been consolidating for the past few sessions. There has been an absence of major events as well as an extended weekend, but the momentum might pick up because we have a lot of macro data such as GDP data from the US and India this week. US markets, it was a quiet close. Maybe there is a pause in terms of equities. Asia is a little quiet on the quieter side right now as well, and the GIFT Nifty is indicating a bit of a flattish start. Now watch for data today. US home prices from the September Red Book, US consumer confidence data for the month of November. We have foreign ministers meeting in Brussels over the 28th and 29th of this month, and back home the RBI banks are meeting with the FM. The FinMin RBI officials will be meeting banks as well as payment aggregators on discussing cyber fraud. So these are a couple of things to watch out for. Over the week, expiry, US GDP, India Q2 GDP, India core data for October. So a lot of macro events which are coming up, and that might determine the course for the next couple of trading sessions.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Ekta and Hormaz, for joining us and prepping us up for this trading day ahead. Time for a short break now. When we return, market regulator Sebi held its board meeting on Saturday. We'll get you the highlights on the other side. Stay tuned for that.
Four-wall.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast. Well, market regulator Sebi held its board meeting on Saturday. My colleague Yash Jain is joining us with all the key highlights from the meeting. Yash, take it away.
Well, Sonal, this board meeting from market regulator Sebi, was more about what did not get approved as compared to what really got approved. So let's just come straight to that. What was widely being anticipated by the market were the delisting, voluntary delisting regulations, which were supposed to go to Sebi's board and have an approval in some form. That was a big disappointment as far as the board meeting is concerned, because no approval came as far as those voluntary delisting regulations are concerned. Though market regulator Sebi chairperson did make some important comments on these regulations. She said that the board discussed voluntary delisting regulations, but at this point of time, the data to approve these regulations in any form is insufficient. They will go back and assess more data to be able to form these regulations. Also, what importantly she said is that if the new data which will be assessed by market regulator Sebi requires a new consultation paper where new changes have to be made in terms of how Sebi wants to see these regulations, then a new consultation paper could come out on these delisting regulations. Some of these holding companies which were hoping for these regulations to come out and have the right value as far as delisting opportunity is concerned will be disappointed in today's trade. Apart from that, market regulator Sebi has allowed small and medium REITs. Here the asset size has been reduced to 50 crore REITs, which will be eligible from the normal REIT size of 500 crore, and flexibility to social stock exchanges has been given. So Sebi's approved listing on social stock exchange from 50 lakh from the current one at about 1 crore. Also, reduction in application size for companies on social stock exchange has been reduced to 10,000 rupees from the current 2 lakh rupees.
Okay, all right. Those are some important updates. Thank you, Yash, for getting us up to speed with whatever was announced in the Sebi board meet. Let's move on now. Reserve Bank officials and the finance minister are slated to meet with payment aggregators and banks with respect to cyber fraud issues as concerns of the rise in cyber and digital thefts rise. The meet that will be chaired by the DFS Secretary Vivek Joshi will see SBI and Bank of Baroda management among the attendees. The statistics of digital payment frauds and issues to counter them would be discussed at the meet. Now remember, this meeting comes after the government had met with Google earlier to understand their financial mitigation framework. Of course, we'll get you more details on this one as and when this meeting happens as well. But now the Reserve Bank has superseded the board of Mumbai-based Abhyuday Cooperative Bank. The RBI has cited material concerns related to poor corporate governance standards as its reason. The action will be for a period of 1 year. Ritu Singh joins us now with the details. Ritu, what does this mean for the bank now?
You know, this is at least the 6th instance in just the last 3 years that the regulator has taken this extreme step against a bank because of poor governance issues to protect the depositors. Now, RBI has superseded the board of Mumbai-based Abhyuday Cooperative Bank for a period of 1 year and named former Chief General Manager of SBI Satya Prakash Pathak as its administrator to carry out the day-to-day affairs. The action was necessitated, RBI said, and I quote, due to certain material concerns emanating from poor governance standards observed in the bank, end of quote. Now, RBI has also in parallel named a committee of advisors to assist the administrator to discharge his duties, and that includes the former general manager at SBI, a chartered accountant, and the former MD of Cosmos Cooperative Bank. Now, in terms of the impact, RBI has made it very clear that no business restrictions have been placed on the bank and it can continue to carry on its normal banking activities under the guidance of the administrator. Remember, this is the same bank about which a fake rumor was doing the rounds in October, claiming RBI had cancelled their license because of weak financials, inadequate capital and so on. But then RBI had clarified that that was not true and the license had not been cancelled. Now, in the past, we've seen RBI supersede boards of Yes Bank, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, you had DHFL, the Straits Twins, Reliance Capital, where barring the two banks, the other lenders were sent to the bankruptcy court for resolution. So we'll have to see what happens in the case of Abhyuday. Now, this cooperative bank is 58 years old. It's based in Mumbai and has its area of operations is confined to 3 states, largely in Maharashtra, but also in Gujarat and Karnataka. It has 109 branches, deposits of 10,952 crores and advances of 6,700 odd crores as of FY21, and more than 17 lakh depositors are involved.
Okay, all right. Ritu, thank you so much for joining us for those important details. So, Abhyuday Cooperative Bank is in focus as well. We'll slip into a break. Up next, we'll get you all the cues from the commodities market. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC TV18. Let's talk all about the commodity space. Manisha Gupta is joining us with the update from the commodity markets. Hey, Manisha, good morning.
Hi, morning, and thank you for that. Well, I'll start with the crude oil prices, where this week, finally, we will have the OPEC and allies meeting. Saudi Arabia and Russia may extend voluntary supply cuts into 2024, and that's what the markets factoring at this point in time. Having said that, there are higher supplies from non-OPEC. IEA also has said that they expect surplus in 2024, and that will continue to keep the markets in check. Having said that, the one sector that continues to run up has been the precious metals. You have the gold prices now trading at a 6-month highs. We are trading up $2,000 per ounce. We have seen softer US dollar index and weaker treasury yields, and that has supported the prices. Not just gold, silver also is trading up by nearly 8% for the month of November. So this month clearly belongs to precious metals in sense of investment.
Okay, precious metals, they continue to do well. Thank you so much, Manisha, for getting us all those details. Moving on now, OPEC's decision to postpone its meeting to November 30th has put pressure on oil prices. Reports also say that OPEC Plus may also be looking at deepening oil production cuts. Let's listen into Helima Croft of RBC Capital Market talking about her views on the cuts and the delayed OPEC meeting as well.
There are 2 African OPEC countries Angola, Nigeria, that are actually seeking larger production baselines for next year. They got a mega deal done in June. UAE was allowed to increase for next year, but they squared the books by reducing the baseline. So basically taking the quotas lower for the underperforming African countries. And two of those countries are saying, look, we want the opportunity to produce more next year. So they have to square the books before they can address the issue of, is there going to be a deeper cut? Are they simply going to extend the unilateral cuts by Saudi Arabia and Russia into next year? So again, there's some uncertainty about when we're going to get this sort of agreement with the African nations and they can move on to the bigger issues at play.
Okay, all right. With that, let's shift focus to the big national story that we've been tracking for several days now. Rescue efforts to bring out the 41 trapped workers at the Uttarakhand tunnel enters its 17th day. Two teams of rat hole miners have now been called to manually drill through the tunnel after the auger drilling machine's blades broke on Friday. Alternative options to drill through the tunnel are also being considered. Officials expect the drilling work to be completed in 4 days if no other obstacles come in the way. Okay, this is a very important story and we'll keep getting you updates as and when there are some on this particular tunnel collapse that we've been tracking. Moving on now to the latest updates from the conflict in West Asia. On the final day of the 4-day truce between Israel and Hamas, Qatar's foreign minister announces that an agreement has been reached to extend the Israel-Hamas truce for another 2 days, even as both sides continue to exchange captives. Israel, however, promises to continue its campaign once the truce period is over. NBC's Alice Barr is here with the latest.
Fresh hope today in the powerful mix of emotions as families are reunited with Hamas-held hostages for a 4th day. The White House now confirming Israel and Hamas have agreed to a 2-day extension of their temporary truce to exchange another 20 women and children Hamas kidnapped for 60 Israeli-held Palestinian prisoners.
We would, of course, hope to see the pause extended further, and that will depend upon Hamas continuing to release hostages.
Israeli-American Galia Mizrahi's cousins, aged 9, 11, and 17, and their mother were among the hostages released this weekend. The family honored at a prayer service in Los Angeles. But like so many, their relief is tinged with tragedy. The children's father and their older sister were killed in Hamas's October 7th massacre.
There's going to be an avalanche and a domino effect of things they're going to have to go through, and we'll be there to support them.
4-year-old Abigail Edan lost both her parents in the terror attack. She's the first American hostage freed, now back with her extended family. President Biden promising to keep pressing for the estimated 8 or 9 remaining American hostages, while pushing for still more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Here at home, the FBI and ATF are investigating the shooting of 3 college students of Palestinian descent in Burlington, Vermont, as a possible hate crime. They all survived, but this mother says her son may not walk again.
It feels like there's nowhere safe to be Palestinian any longer. I'm in agony.
The U.S. has seen incidents of both Islamophobia and anti-Semitism surge since the start of the Israel-Hamas war.
Okay, that is the update as far as West Asia conflict is concerned. Let's quickly take a look at what the Asian markets are doing before we wrap on this edition of Power Breakfast. Continues to be a mixed session for the Asian markets. While we do have the Taiwanese index, which is in the green, Hang Seng is seeing some decline, though it has been at those levels as it was when we started the show as well. The GIFT Nifty is indicating that the start for our own markets, well, that could be in the green, 47 points higher if we compare it with Nifty futures. We'll take your leave now. Stay tuned. Bazaar Morning Call comes up next with all the market action.